It is indeed my sad duty to have to tell you, dear friends, that I bow to public pressure and sit down as monarch of my own little empire. It has been a pleasure to me, and a comfort these many years to be able to stand alongside you all and oversee the great changes we have undergone in my reign, though now I recognise there is little that can foresee the future but a change in lordship rather than myself. In every reign there comes a time when one must step down and recognise the necessity for one's overbearing change. Now is the opportune moment for me to take on that diminishment in your best interests. These sentiments, reminiscent of later monarchs in England, might have been a pleasure to hear from the last in line of the House of Plantagenet. Unfortunately, it will not to be. Richard II usurped after a great train and took Henry Bolingbroke, their king's course, into the very heart of London. After a long and bloody conquest that took place at various battles from the Welsh marches to the outer edge of Kent, Bolingbroke took it upon himself to take back not only his lands that had been stolen from him on his exile by the king, but also the crown of England as well. Opinion is divided as to whether the line of succession was split at this point in history or not. There is the romantic point of view that would assert that the House of Plantagenet was reborn in Henry IV, as the monarch was a cousin of the previous king. There is also the opposing definition of events that takes a historical point of view, in that the Plantagenet rule ended with King Richard II starved to death in Pontefract Castle. One opinion that can be agreed on, though, is by most historians and historiographers alike, is that this usurpation did set a precedent for future monarchs, though. From this point in history, virtually every tosser within the slightest drop of globulin of royal descent felt it was their right to put themselves forward for the crown, and they did so in copious numbers. Today, we look upon the monarchy as a stabilising force in the country, one that brings in revenue and continued envy from other nations. Its influence and social benefits outweigh the current trend in a desire to abolish this institution altogether, a point of view that has become increasingly popular in recent decades, though that's a line of reasoning for another article. The eventual separation from the crown and state, a definitive decision that was concertedly made after the civil conflict of the 17th century, has allowed us newfound liberties in this country. Unfortunately, it has also deprived us of something. It has deprived us of the opportunity to be led by our own monarchy with a sense of identity and pride. The mid-16th century proves to be impossible in the views of some, with the least impairment to modern values as we see them today, for the most part. Though it is helpful in the quest for understanding of usurpation to take a look at the recent postmodern history to draw suitable comparison. The misgivings of worldwide population over the Trump administration only go to fortify the assertion that a rich baron cannot, with any immediate authority, take the reins of a country by force or any other means. That is to say, without the consideration of a generation or two. Perhaps it might be argued that 3 in the case of the Tudors. Though to glance further back, we might see, once again, our inherent national identity as complete bastards. For in contemporary terms, that is the mentality from which the English stem. It is my hope, though, that this last reference is not seen as a derogatory reference, but one of affection and truth of the matter. For without an honest approach to our own nature, there can be no acceptance of identity. William, Duke of Anjou, landed on the south coast of our isle in 1065. It was the year of mustering support and mulling over the tactics before he felt able to announce his presence. after the eventual conquest in 1066, he set about erecting the most indomitable fortifications this country has ever seen since the Romans. I use the word indomitable in the project of defining his usurped power, as it was impressive, not drenched in splendour. Most of the early castles were wooden and ill fortified, but they did have the advantage of being strategically placed on the coastline. It was the eventual delving under the covers of legitimacy that took King Stephen to the throne in 1135. That was only after the anarchy that saw William Luther's son, an heir to the throne, drown in a boat full of drunk seamen. Stephen's reforms and building, however, did justify his reign, as did the tenure of Henry II. Henry instituted the Assizes of Clarendon that were instrumental in the organisation of power between the barons of the people. They also limited the ability of those lords to up the taxes that were extorted from those under the care of the lords. All this as a precursor to what we consider today as the greatest treaty of all time, the Magna Carta. It was unfortunate that the peace treaty itself was in fact nothing of the kind, and the first draft was in no way the foundations of democracy we believe it to be. The document was simply drawn up as a desperate plea for the barons of England to gain more power. King John, being the spoiled youngest son of Henry II, has struggled for years to keep his nobles under control and lessen their power over taxes and shield tax, for instance. The charter was simply a marketing ploy, declaring that the barons worked tirelessly for the people and supporting their rights as crewmen. It was the equivalent of a large corporation today pulling the thumb on the government to institute change where no change is needed. In fact, John was a highly intelligent king, whatever others' faults might have been: gluttony, sexual perversion, harsh temper, lack of empathy. He did more in the way of public interface than any other monarch before him. Travelling around the country as he did, with a massive royal train, Lackland dispensed justice, perhaps in a rather severe fashion, wherever he found injustice. He supported new businesses, instituted new building works, and left the country a more orderly place than he found it. Orderly, especially considering his brother's bankrupting of the throne, but before he even got to it. John was nicknamed Lackland because of his loss of numerous French territories, though these territories would not have been lost in the first place had they not been sold off to accommodate Richard I's losses. These were incurred during his crusading overseas. The Plantagenets, in short, built this country up from the dirt in which it was left by the Roman occupation, rather like Anthony Eden after the devastation in which Churchill left the country. It was indeed a necessity, devastation, but one that has to be cleared up by someone. Such an assertion is not to say that the ancient kings of Albion had no play in the formation of our land. Rather, they ably and successfully laid the foundations for our Norman conqueror to exploit. I by no means set out to assert that the Plantagenets were by any way any standards saints, or rather the contrary. The boys were the products of their time, ruthless, selfish, savage by our standards, and absorbed by power and wielding it. Their story continues to this day in the current political climates, and their legacy is beneath our feet every day, and wherever we go. It is notable that the flight for dynastic remembrance is achieved through going back on contracts, killing priests, slaughtering minorities, and stabbing people in the eye. So have we got that covered already? Right, okay, let's see now. Oh my god. Very slight difference. Let's just test this theory. Yes. More people talking on that, it's amazing. Henry instituted the Clarendon.
No, no, no.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks, and you?
Good, not too bad.
Excellent. You're having trouble there, it seems.
No, it's okay. There you go.
Excellent stuff. I'm never going to do this out here. It's just too dark. I'm desperately trying to fight against the inevitable. It's ridiculous. It really is. I'm trying again to make it out here. The question is, can I actually do this? I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work. Let's have a look now. This time of night is quite astonishing, really.
Beautiful.